Hello, folks, and welcome into another YouTube video from eGuide. We are here today to talk about how to write better Instagram captions for your clients. Very excited to get into this conversation. As always, I'm Clayton, Director of Operations for eGuide.
I'm Andy. Sorry, Andrea. We still haven't gotten that part down yet. I'm Andy Trito. I'm a content marketing manager with eGuide.
And I'm Andrea Picture. I am content and social media marketing manager for eGuide.
That's right. We got the roundtable with us. These are the writers of the captions for eGuide. And in today's video, we're just going to go into some tips and tricks. So if you are somebody who's starting a caption writing business, so any kind of social media management, any kind of content creation, this can be useful for you, especially for Instagram. That's kind of where we're drawing our focus from, but these principles will apply to other platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, any of that stuff. And some of the things we talk about can even apply to more long form blog style posts, if that's what you're working on. You don't have to be starting a social media management business to get something out of this video. You may just want to get a little bit better at social media for yourself. Totally fine. But we have kind of framed this conversation with a professional social media management individual in mind, because there are certain things that come up in that context that are a little different than when you're just doing social media for yourself or for your own business. So let's go ahead and dive into it. We are constantly trying to nail the voice for our clients. And Andrea has done an amazing job since joining the team at creating content that's really compelling and fits in a lot of different environments. And part of how she's been able to do that is by being succinct, and getting right to the point. Andrea, I'm curious if you could sort of open up the conversation for us with why is being succinct so important?
Sure. So if you think about the way that any of us interact with social media, it's fast. It's super fast, and there's so much coming at you all at once that when I think about how I use social media, anything that gets too long, like if I click on a Pinterest recipe and there's 18 paragraphs before I get to the recipe, I'm out. I don't care anymore. I don't care if it's the best cookies you've ever made in your life. I'm out. So being succinct, it kind of goes across the board, because if you've got a lot coming at you, something's got to catch you quick, and short is always going to catch you much faster than if I see a ton of text in front of me. That's always going to catch me so much faster to be like, oh, one sentence, or, oh, wait, they're asking me a question. So being succinct, I will really catch people more than anything else.
That might be a tell into why Reels have become such a big thing. Obviously, captions are important, but Reels give you a lot of bang for your buck too in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to me a little bit, Andrea, about how you work with clients to whittle their vision down, right? So I know that a lot of times clients will come to us saying, I want to make sure that I say this and that and this and that, and like kind of there's a lot of thought and wrestling and just a lot of effort put into kind of each post, right? And the stakes feel very high.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been able to kind of funnel their vision into something that's a little more specific?
Sure. Well, something I think that we do really well as a team is we help clients break things out into categories. They have their big overarching view, their big overarching goal and dream of what they want to communicate, but sometimes that can be broken up into different things. So let's say you have a new product launching. Great. Let's just focus on posts about that product. Or let's say, you want to feature team members. There are ways that you can communicate how the brand is and who the people are behind the brand by breaking things out into smaller categories. And so you're already making things much more digestible by just taking them and putting them into smaller compartments, which then means you can just focus on this specific product. Not all of our products. We're focusing on this new toothbrush that we're dropping today, just this toothbrush, not our 10 other toothbrushes, just this one specific one. So if you can get them to be more specific in their categories, what is it that you want to cover for this month? You want to cover a new product launch. You want to cover a company that you're working with. You want to cover your employees. Pick 3 products or 3 categories you want to break things down to, and that will help you get those succinct posts from them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great because so much of the work is when you're dealing with a business owner, they're in the business each and every day, and they have in mind all the stuff, right? They're thinking about 6 months down the line, they're thinking about 2 years down the line, and they're thinking about what's going on tomorrow. They are in the weeds and they care deeply. They're going to care deeply about these companies that they've built, right? So they're going to want to make sure that they tell you everything that they have to keep in mind and they have to consider. So your role, and I'm speaking to the viewers here because obviously Andrea knows this, your role is in large part going to be to digest for the client, right? And prioritize for the client, and let them help them understand that it's actually very counterproductive, right? To try to tell the whole story of the business in every single post. And so we do need to kind of find a way to rein it in and just say less, but say it better, right? I wonder if we could hop into a couple screen shares. And Andy, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, it's interesting that being short is obviously the way to go, and that's where I kind of direct my clients in. If there are some examples of they call it micro blogging. You can't do that every time because no one has time for that. But that is a way to gain followers in some ways that if it's dropped in once in a while, it's not bad, but it has to be, it has to be pointed towards that. It can't just be, well, I'm just going to write something today and you write that out. Oh, it ended up to be a microblog. That has to take a lot of time and planning. But again, not something you should be doing all that often.
Cool.
I agree. And I think too, that if you're planning on doing a microblog, then you also have to pick a super strong image. You still want to give people a reason to pause for a moment, but I agree with Andy.
Cool. So let's have a look at a couple of captions out there in the world,
Sure.
so that we can get a sense of what we're talking about here.
Sure. So I have pulled up a few different examples. So we talked about succinct, and something that's hard is there are posts like this that it's one sentence. This is our kind of tree pose, and she's just leaning against a tree. Then there's this jewelry store. They do great social media. They're advertising that they have initial necklaces, but all they wrote is, "It's Friday. Are you ready for the weekend?" So posts like this, like Taco Bell, a light snack. They're funny. It's one sentence. These posts get a lot of quick likes. Now, you obviously will want to, that's not always easy to do, especially if you're just trying to introduce yourself as a brand. So you can have posts that are a little bit longer, but it's not just one block of text. It's not just a giant paragraph. It's broken up. It's easier to digest visually. And it's just easier on the eyes in general. And so it's posts that if you have 100, I think it's if you have 100 or less words, it's more likes. But if you have like 400 or less words, it's more engagement. And both of those are important, and, different sides of the same coin. The more people are engaging with your post, the more they're going to see your post more organically in their feeds. So you definitely want to balance.
Totally. There's some funny stuff in a couple of those posts. I think a light snack from Taco Bell is kudos for a little chuckle from me. I'm not going to lie. That's funny. Talk to me about the importance of humor in social media and just keeping it light.
Again, I think it's a very human thing. If I think about the things that I spend the most time on, it's things that are going to make me laugh or give me some sort of emotional reaction. So I think humor is always a great way. And it's hard because I think when you say humor, people are like, but I'm not funny. I don't understand funny. You don't have to be a comedian to understand things that people might chuckle at. So I think it's knowing who your client is. And even this, like, I think this is funny because I think it's clever. There are different kinds of humor. There's dad jokes. There's, all different kinds of humor that you can use.
There's dad jokes and other stuff.
And other stuff. True, I'm just thinking that's the only category of joke I can think of off the top of my head. Or other things too, like, maybe it's not necessarily humor, but you could repurpose somebody else's content as long as you're giving them credit. Like, here's a quote from Mark Twain. They're not reinventing the wheel here. They're not, coming up with their own stuff, but they felt like this quote encapsulated the post and their business, and they used it. So there are lots of clever ways for you to communicate that aren't necessarily you having to come up with it all on your own all the time.
Yeah.
Just involves a little thinking outside of the box.
Yeah, and there's a little humor if we brought back to that the books image that we were just on. There's a little humor in that hashtag there, bibliophile, just how drawing your eye to the ridiculousness of the book situation that's going on right now.
Yeah.
Yes, and I love your point there that you do not have to be a comedian to be funny, right? It's okay to make an okay joke. Making jokes is it's a tone thing, right? It's just you don't have to be hilarious, but having a certain lightness to your approach to your business can be very refreshing. And as someone who is, as professionals who write captions for other businesses, right? That's what we do. And if you're interested in doing that, you're going to find that it'll be easier for you to have a sense of humor about your clients' businesses than it is for them, right? Oftentimes, because they are working so hard to make it happen.
Right.
So learning a little bit to navigate that sort of social soft skills of saying there is an opportunity for something funny here, and kind of greasing the wheels a little bit and working with folks over time to get the tone of their captions to be a little bit lighter. Andy, anything to add here?
Yeah, it's Andrea mentioned it. It's the resharing is really important. I know that one of the accounts that I follow and my wife has brought me onto is Dr. Cassidy. Every Friday, she shares the best Instagram reels of the week, and there's probably like 30 of them. And really, her content doesn't have anything really to do with that, but that has become her niche and her stick. So while I don't necessarily follow her particularly for anything she does, it keeps me coming back. But there is going to be that chance that she has something that sticks my attention, my attention sticks out with that. So it's beginning to use those. Humor is good. Instagram is meant to be the platform that is not necessarily serious really all the time. There obviously are times. For me, it was obviously during election season where you pick one. Instagram is usually the place I go because a lot of the stuff is left out from world news and politics, and humor is king when it comes to social media because no one complains about it and everyone loves it.
That's right. Another very important aspect of caption writing for businesses especially is the call to action. Andy, what's up with calls to action? Why are they important, and how do we do a good one?
Oh, call to action. That is the way to go when it comes to being relevant in the world of Instagram, because not only is it going to bring new people to your platform, but it's probably going to get them to stick around. I know that I was really introduced to it a couple of years ago when my wife was tagging me in posts about an influencer giving away running gel or running pants, things like that, or cookware. And it was always, okay, like this post and tag 3 people and you're automatically entered to win. I mean, it's super simple. Also, it gets certain people who normally wouldn't be looking at your product to look at your product. And even if you get 1 out of those 3 people, that can really bring in a ton of new audience. And again, you don't have to spend money to do that. Yes, you have to give something away, but generally it's things that you're either being paid for or it's gonna pay for itself, tenfold if you get people to pay attention to your product. And again, it's the thing that brings them to it. It's the horse to water theory. You want to bring people to the water, but are they going to drink it? That's the question. And as long as you deliver and as long as your captions are engaging, you're going to keep people coming back again and again and again.
Yeah. For me, the call to action is just this very easy thing to forget, right? If you've gotten someone to follow you, you've gotten them to look at the image or video, you've gotten them to read through your whole caption. This is someone who cares about your account for some reason. They have some attachment, some interest, they're getting something from this experience, right? And so often folks forget to just make some kind of a request of any kind. It can be check out our website for more details. It can be, hit like and subscribe, right? The classic YouTube ending of every YouTube video ever. There's a reason for that. If you forget to say that, you're missing an opportunity, because there are folks engaging with your content who do want to support what you're doing.
And it's as easy as being a big Christmas person. You both know this. I love Christmas. It doesn't matter what month it is. It's as easy as a brand posting, what is your favorite Christmas memory? Mm-hmm. And usually it involves something to do with family. And then those people probably tag a brother, sister, mom, whatever, into that post, because that story involves that family member. So again, it's a great way to keep people coming back to your content. And as Andrea said before, it's pretty brief. It doesn't need to be anything super engaging, because they are bringing the content to you.
Right. So yeah, it can be leave a comment leave a comment below if, or tag someone who blank, any of that kind of stuff. Great calls to action. Andy, you brought up a very good concept in that last example, which I thought was super interesting in our preparation for this video, which is nostalgia and the importance of nostalgia in social media. This is probably something we could write a book on, but for the purposes of today, I just want to include it in this conversation about caption writing. Why is nostalgia effective?
Nostalgia, especially for millennials, as all three of us are, it is one of the most powerful emotions that we have and that we think about all the time. I think about all the things that I see online now, and it's all really dating back to the 90s for me. I'm a big sports person. All of the captions that I'm reading right now are referencing the video game that I played when I was younger, NFL Blitz. They are, and it's not even a gaming company. It's a clothing apparel company. They are just continuing to call back to that. For me, it is so powerful just to be able, because it brings up those warm and fuzzy moments. The same thing goes for Disney. I saw the Little Mermaid live action movie is coming out soon, and they used, I believe, a line from the movie. I think it was just Part of Your World, which is a big part of the trailer that just dropped. Obviously, that's the part that Ariel sings, and that brought me back to when I was younger again. So again, they're using not only quotes, but they're using the nostalgia factor. Obviously, the video is super important in that, but it's the same thing for the holidays coming up. I see so many different Instagram accounts, like the example I just used. What is your favorite Christmas memory? What is the worst Christmas gift you ever had? Granted, that's not necessarily nostalgia in the positive way, but for anyone, it's important because it taps into different things for different people, and everyone experiences it.
Just to piggyback off of what Andy said, if you think about some of the biggest companies in the world, they will use the same holiday ads for years. The ones,
Exactly.
the snowman who comes in and he melts eating chicken candles because he's actually a kid, like those are the commercials that we grew up with, that they will use over and over and over again. So I do think that there's something to nostalgia, just that people want to come back to it. They feel safe. You feel safe with something that makes you feel nostalgic.
And it brings people back to your post every single year. I know that, granted, it's Mariah Carey. It's Mariah Carey. Who doesn't love Mariah Carey? But I come back every single year on Halloween night, because at the stroke of midnight, every year she posts a Halloween to Christmas reel now. And again, people continue to come back to that, and it's usually trending on Twitter. Again, it's Mariah Carey. She doesn't really need help with influences, but it's those things that if you build a strong enough brand and start now, nostalgia, and it could be you. You never know.
It could be you, and creating those rituals can be very powerful, right? So what do you do? What does your business do every holiday season? And how can we build that in to part of your brand's culture? And it ties back as well, I think, to the lightheartedness, right? Like, people are going to Instagram to experience a little bit of relief from their day and to just have a little bite-sized bit of fun, right? And if you're going into the business of social media management, it's B2B, you're dealing with businesses who are not used to trying to create moments of fun from their social media. They're really thinking more like advertisers, right? And how do we make these sales? So encouraging folks, whether it's nostalgia, humor, or any other number of lighthearted approaches to content creation, just always remember how important that is, and looking for any ways that we can be silly, any ways that we can be, caring, loving, these feel good aspects of content that will make business profiles actually fun to follow and visit, right? Because that's the whole point. We're all just trying to have fun out here. And then we might just go and sign up for a sample session or whatever it is with the business, right? So that's going to close us out for today. I want to thank Andrea and Andy so much for having this conversation. If you have made it to this part in the video, click like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? You got to do it. And do reach out to us, right? If there's a certain video you'd like to see, something you want to learn more about, we're interested in making that. And if you want to know more about how we build social media campaigns for our clients, reach out to us. You can go to eguidetechallies.com, find out about our services, and we would love to have a conversation with you. All right, folks. Thank you all so much. Until next time, see you later.
Bye.